Chloe Swarbrick.
Ki te Premier, e tōtoko ana ia I ngā kōrero me ngā mahi katoa a tōna kāwanatanga.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Yes, and particularly our Budget 25 investment into improving our justice system and keeping New Zealanders safe. Because this government understands that we can't have a prosperous, functional society unless criminals face real consequences for wreaking havoc on communities. That's why we've invested $472 million in corrections and $246 million into our court system to clear the backlog of cases. We're cracking down on gangs, we're tackling youth offending and retail crime, and we're getting more officers out there on the beat.
Will the Prime Minister rule out his government pursuing a no additional warming approach to agricultural climate changing gases as 26 world-renowned scientists implored in an open letter to him just this week?
Well, in answer to the last part of the question, I'd just say to the people that kindly wrote the letter to me that they should write it to 194 other countries before they send me a letter, and then I might read it. I just want the member to understand that New Zealand's farmers are the very best in the world. They are the #1 most carbon efficient in the world. If you want to lower global greenhouse gas emissions, you would do more farming in New Zealand and less in other countries. And I think our farmers deserve tremendous praise because they are the bedrock of this economy. They're doing an exceptionally good job of hauling us out of recession, and we ain't going to shut down farming and send production overseas. We're backing our farmers. They're the best in the world. They're the most carbon efficient. And if they send it to 194 other leaders before they send it to me, then I might read it.
Is the Prime Minister aware that adopting a no additional warming approach for agricultural gases would mean either requiring every other sector of the economy to carry a far higher burden to reduce emissions, or reducing our climate ambition and therefore breaching international trade and climate agreements?
I would just say to the member, and I want everybody in this country to understand this, New Zealand farmers are the best in the world and they are the most carbon efficient. So if you shut down farming in New Zealand and you move it to any other country on earth, any of the other 194 other countries, global greenhouse gas emissions get worse. We have outstanding farmers, we have outstanding science and technology and innovation coming our way. We can be more productive, we can actually deliver our lower domestic and global emissions by embracing technology and actually increasing production.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
A point of order, Chloe Swarbrick.
With all due respect, we can debate till we're blue in the face about the efficiency of our farmers, but that was not my question. My question was about our climate targets, and this is a really important distinction because the efficiency of our farmers is one entirely separate thing from the targets.
That's right, and that really probably answers your own question because you raised it as an either-or, and I think the Prime Minister therefore can easily bring in some other aspects that might sit outside the tight confines of the answer you're expecting.
So, Mr. Speaker, my first question was explicitly about whether he would heed the call from international renowned climate scientists. Okay, he said no. To my next supplementary, Mr. Speaker, he just did just now. Okay, will he commit to following the recommendation? Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
A point of order, Chloe Swarbrick.
You've made the point many times that we're not to be heckled while asking a primary or supplementary question.
Yes, but you need to understand that you stood up to take a point of order and then decided to move straight into a question. So you should have waited till I had some opportunity to respond to you. But questions are to be heard in silence.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the Prime Minister commit then to following the recommendation of the Independent Expert Climate Change Commission that, and I quote, "There is no evidence to support weakening the 2050 target and enough to consider strengthening it," end quote?
Well, I'd just say to the member, and I think it's well understood, we've had advice from the Climate Commission, we've had advice independently from our own independent work on methane targets. We'll have more to say about that shortly, but I want to be very clear. We have the most carbon efficient farmers in the world. You know, if you want to lower global greenhouse gas emissions, you would produce more in New Zealand and less carbon efficient countries. It's that simple. We ain't shutting down farming in New Zealand.
Mr. Speaker.
Questions
Thank you.
will be heard in silence. If people don't observe that, then they don't need to be here.
Has the Prime Minister sought any assurances from his climate or finance ministers that we are still on track to meet our next emissions budget, given that a third of it relies on carbon capture technology that the industry says is economically unfeasible, and another third on waste minimisation that his recent budget cut funding to?
In answer to the first part of the question, we remain on track. We are back on track.